Hi yogis, Katy here at Body and Shine Wellness in Elgin, Texas. Today's flow is going to be centered around hamstrings and strength. So those are kind of the themes for this month. Doing potentially handstand hop-ups if you want to, or a little bit of core for engaging those muscles that we use in arm balances and inversions. You may want a couple blocks, especially if you have tight hamstrings, and potentially a blanket as well. So go ahead and grab that stuff and we'll get started in a second. All right, yogis, so we'll go ahead and start in a comfortable seated position. If you do want to sit on your block or your blanket today, you're certainly welcome to, otherwise right on your hips is fine. And then start to relax into your space. Sit up nice and tall. Let your hands find a resting place in your lap and close your eyes. Roll your shoulders away from your ears. Soften the muscles in your face, your hands, your feet. Notice your breath. Each inhale, tracing it from the crown of your head all the way down to the base of your hips. Each exhale, emptying out from the ground all the way back up. Every breath in, let it be a reminder to be present right here, right now. Every breath out, letting go of any distractions, obligations, or plans. As you move on your mat today, remind yourself that the physical practice is just one piece of the yoga puzzle. That the bigger intention is to just use this time to connect to yourself, your breath, your body. With that in mind, take another big full deep breath in. And exhale, let it go. You can choose to leave your eyes closed or start to flutter them open. Either way, begin to tuck your chin down to your chest. Rock your right ear over to your right shoulder and go around in a big slow circle to start. Feel free to pause and breathe in any tight spaces along the way. And you can keep circling to that same side, or if you prefer, pause right ear to right shoulder, hold and breathe there. Let the side of your neck stretch. You can add a little additional stretch using your right hand as a gentle weight, not forcing, not pulling. Option to extend your left arm out to the side to bring the stretch more into the top of the shoulder. Final option to tilt your chin towards your chest. You can combine any, all, or none of these movements. Take another big breath in. And exhale, bring your chin back to your chest, hands back to your lap. Pause and notice already the difference between your right and left side. Take a breath in. As you exhale, start to go over to the left. Again, big slow circle to start. Notice any differences as you move in this direction. And again, you can keep going in a big circle or pause once your left ear gets back to your left shoulder and add on any of those additional changes that feel good on this side. And it may not look exactly the same as the first side, and that's okay. Take a few more deep breaths here. Trying to find a little more space with each exhale. And slowly bringing your chin back to your chest, hands back to your lap. Keep your chin tilted down. Roll your shoulders up by your ears, and then squeeze your shoulder blades down and back. You might get a little snap, crackle, pop when you do that, and that's okay. Doing at least a few of those big shoulder rolls. And if you do have a shoulder injury or mobility issue, just go one shoulder at a time. That way you can change it up as needed. And from here, moving into some seated spinal stretching. So hands on your knees. For a seated cat, curl round, arch your back, tilt your chin towards your chest just like we did a moment ago. And then for seated cow, send your belly, your chest forward, look up a little bit to stretch your throat, but not at the expense of the back of your neck. And keep going just like that, at least a few cats, at least a few cows. Warming up your spine back and forth. And once you feel a little bit more range of motion starting to open up, feel free to change up the movements. You might circle your rib cage around. You might reach your arms up overhead, do a side-to-side stretch, a forward fold, a seated twist. Whatever feels good to you, stretch your wrists. Taking a few more breaths here. And if you want a little longer to warm up, some people have mentioned that, just pause the video. Take a little extra time. Do some of your seated stretches that you want to add in, because you know your body better than anybody. So if you feel like you need a little more time to work on, your chest, your shoulders, your hamstrings, pause the video, take it. It's all you. And from here, we're going to start to extend our right leg long out in front of us when you're ready. Sole of the left foot is going to come somewhere, doesn't really matter where, inside the right leg. Sit up nice and tall through the crown of your head, and then start to fold towards your extended leg. So not to the center of your hips, but rather towards your foot. If your hamstring feels really tight, soften your knee a little bit. So bend your knee slightly so that we're not putting tension on that joint. If you're very flexible, which I don't have the luxury of in my hamstrings, but if you are, straightening your leg a little bit more, drive your heel forward, send your toes back towards you, keep your back really flat, and hinge more from your hips. So instead of, rounding all the way forward to where you can rest your forehead on your leg, keep your back really strong and long, like a halfway lift, bringing the stretch more into the hamstring, which is what we want. Take another breath in. And another breath out. On your next inhale, coming back up to center, we'll switch out those legs. So this time, left leg extends long, right leg comes in, almost like a teeny tiny twist, trying to frame your heart towards your extended leg, and then gently starting to melt your way forward. The other thing with forward folds we want to remember is not rushing to our deepest point and then just tolerating the stretch the rest of the time we have to be here, okay? That's not fun for anybody. So instead of doing that, make it a process, make it a journey. Take a breath in, lengthen yourself forward. Take a breath out, fold a little bit deeper. And even if you get to a point where physical changes aren't really feeling like much, let it be an energetic shift. Let yourself just let go of tension, let go of your day, finding space internally. And be sure to relax your jaw and your forehead. On your next inhale, starting to make your way back up to center. All right, from here, getting into those hips a little bit more with a wide-legged forward fold. So separating your feet to like a comfortable width, okay? This is our third pose today, so there's no need to force your legs into a really wide split right away. Sit up tall through the crown of your head, keep your back flat, and start to fold forward again from your hips, okay? So it's just a little bit of crawling the hands forward with every exhale. If we're super tight in the hamstrings, this would be a great opportunity to sit on your block or your blanket to take some tension out of the hips, even if you're tight in the hips too, maybe not your hamstrings, but just getting you a little bit to where you can fold forward. Like a lot of really big, strong dudes with their butt on the floor are not going to fold forward at all. They will just sit up straight, and that's just what they can do. So if that's you, if you fall in that category, whatever size or gender you are, grab a block, grab a blanket. Don't put yourself in an uncomfortable position. And then slowly starting to make your way back up to center. If you are sitting on a prop, go ahead and remove it out from underneath you. And we're going to make our way to our first down dog of the practice. So coming hands towards the top edge of your mat, shoulder width distance apart, feet about hip width distance, sending your hips up behind you. And notice hopefully a little more space in your hamstrings than maybe your first down dog usually feels. And if you are going to walk out your down dog today, bend one knee, press the other heel down, and hold it for at least 2 or 3 breaths. So we have this kind of habit, I notice a lot of times in myself and in classes where, we just bounce really back and forth pretty quickly, which isn't wrong or bad for us, but if you want to get the hamstring to stretch, you got to give it time. So taking a few deep breaths on one side, switching, taking a few deep breaths on the other side. So giving your muscle time to expand. And then starting to melt both heels to the floor, pull your low belly in and up, take a big breath in, and a full breath out. Your next inhale, look forward. As you exhale, small steps, feeling your hamstring stretch all the way up to the top of your mat until maybe we just can't walk that far anymore, and we come to a ragdoll position. So feet at least hip width distance apart, if not wider, knees bend a little, if not a lot. Head and neck fully relax. Arms can dangle. You can grab opposite elbows. Interlace your hands behind your head. Maybe sway a little side to side, or any other movement that feels good. And slowly relax your hands. Start to shimmy your feet to a comfortable standing width, most likely closer together than they were. And roll yourself all the way up to stand. And bring yourself to a standing position with your eyes closed and your hands at heart center. Take this opportunity to set an intention or a purpose for your practice today. And if nothing immediately comes to mind, I'd offer the intention of strength. Not just the strength of your physical body as you move through the yoga poses, but the strength of your breath, the strength of your energy and awareness to bring yourself to the present moment, the strength it takes to let go of distractions or feelings that want to capture your attention away. Whatever your intention is today, take a big full deep breath in, seal it in your heart, and exhale, let it go. We'll take another group breath in together, and exhale, let it out. And slowly start to flutter your eyes open. Inhale, mountain pose. Arms come up overhead. If you need to kind of move your mountain for a second, maybe space out your feet or bend your knees, kind of roll your shoulders away from your ears, pull your belly in and up. So we're focusing on strength and lower half today. So really pulling the core in, igniting that fire from the beginning of class. Take a big breath in. And exhale, forward fold. Start to hinge from your hips, lead with your heart. Let your head and neck relax at the bottom. And then if we are feeling like our legs are super tight today, bending the knees, all right? So there's no sense in locking out your joints, especially when we're trying to stretch out those hamstrings. Inhale, find a halfway lift, long, strong back. Remember, we can always take a block underneath our hands if our hamstrings are tight for that halfway lift. That way you can find extension through the crown of your head without sacrificing your lower half. Take a breath in, and exhale, high plank. Plant your hands, step back, top of a push-up pose. Press the earth away so that you feel your shoulders ignite. So when I say that, our shoulders aren't dropping down, we're not just locking out our elbows, we're actively pressing into our mats, especially through our fingertips like we're palming a basketball. Always the option to come down to your knees or to a tabletop position as needed. Take another breath in. As you exhale, shift forward, slow, control lower. We can come to our knees to come down to the mat. From here, tops of the feet to the floor. Inhale, baby cobra. Roll your shoulders down and back as you press into the tops of your feet. Press into your pubic bone. Activate your quads. Lift even higher through the crown of your head. Take another breath in. And exhale, forward fold. Slowly come, back down to your mat, not forward fold. Inhale, pressing back up, either straight to high plank or to all fours, and then making your way to downward facing dog. Take a big full deep breath in your down dog. And a complete breath out. Inhale, look ahead. Exhale, step or spring to the top of your mat. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, mountain pose. Arms come up overhead. Exhale, forward fold. Hands through heart center or swan dive down, either one, up to you. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, chaturanga if we're ready for it. If you're newer to chaturanga, go check out a little tutorial video. I have lots of them. You come to your high plank, you shift forward, lower down halfway, stop. Flip to the tops of your feet, up dog, and exhale your way to downward facing dog. And I'm going to pause here for a moment to do just a quick breakdown of floating or hopping forward. It's one of the short tutorial videos for this month, so if you haven't watched it already, watch it, but I'm going to break it down real quick for you. When we're jumping, we're trying to ignite our core here, so lifting your hips up and landing as softly as you can at the top of your mat. It's going to help you build strength for inversions later on in arm balances. We're not trying to just go forward, point A to point B. We're trying to go up and land soft. So this time, I want you to try it, okay? Back to your down dog. Start to bend your knees, activate your low belly, take a breath in, look forward. As you exhale, send your hips up, land softly at the top of your mat. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, mountain pose. Last time through, reach up tall. Exhale, forward fold. Let your head relax at the bottom. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, chaturanga. If we don't want to do chaturanga, you just hold your high plank for an extra round of breath while anybody else does up dog. And then you exhale your way to downward facing dog. Big breath in. Full breath out. From here, inhale, lift your right leg high. Pause and breathe here. Sink your left heel even closer to the ground. Then pressing into your hands, lift your right leg even higher. So almost thinking of doing the splits in your down dog. That's the sensation we're going for. Keep pulling those low belly muscles in and up. One more inhale. Exhale, low lunge. Bring your knee in towards your chest. Land your foot gently on the floor. Or we take several steps up if we need to. From here, you're going to inhale, start to straighten through your right leg for either a modified pyramid if you're keeping your left heel up, or step your left foot forward into a traditional pyramid. We want to keep our back long and strong. If we have tight hamstrings, this is a wonderful opportunity to use your blocks. So using your blocks to help you rest, get a little bit of more length through your spine while sending that stretch into the back of your upper right leg. Soften the right knee as you need to. Don't flamingo leg here. I see that happen a lot where people just lock out the joint. You want to have the stretch in your muscles. Take another breath in. And exhale back to your low lunge stance. So if you stepped your left foot significantly in, you want to step it back. Inhale, coming up to a crescent lunge. Shoulders over hips, arms overhead. If your hamstrings are a little on the tighter side, soften your left knee. Tuck your tail a little forward. Lift up through your heart. Take another breath in. And exhale, warrior two. Pivot your left heel down. Shimmy your feet a little wider. So we want to sink into our hips. If your right knee starts to go past your right ankle, shimmy your foot a little further forward so you can sink deeper and lower without compromising your knee. From here, inhale, start to straighten through your right leg. Exhale, triangle pose, Trikonasana. Reach, reach, reach forward. Right hand rests maybe on your shin or potentially on your block, okay? We want to open up our chest a little bit and we want to keep a nice long side body here. So we're not trying to reach as low as we can to where we just collapse and we no longer are engaging our core. We want to have a nice long, strong lateral here. From here, one more breath in. And one more breath out. Inhale, coming up to a star pose. Heels in, toes out, arms up. Use your core to get there. Exhale, wide-legged forward fold, Prasarita Padottanasana. So you can stay here. I'm going to flip around because I always feel really awkward just showing my butt to the camera. Okay, so flipping around. If we have tight hamstrings on this one, I want you to soften both knees a little bit, and I'll turn actually to the side so you can see this here. So if our hamstrings are tight, the tendency is we lock out our legs and we kind of put the weight back here because then we don't have as much tension in the hamstrings, right? So instead of just resting and tolerating this pose, bend your knees a little bit, shift your weight a little more forward so that your weight is in the ball of your foot, And then you're actually feeling these muscles right here stretching. Okay, so that's what we're after here. And you might need to use your block here to rest on, and that's okay too. But feeling those muscles work. On your next inhale, you're going to find a halfway lift, so I'll spin back around to where you guys were. And then you're going to exhale your way to a low lunge. So you're going to pivot your way forward. From here, 2 options. Option number 1 is we step back to a traditional high plank. Option number 2, for more strength challenge, step back to an uneven plank. So floating this leg up. Either way, we're holding, taking a breath in, active shoulders. You can keep the foot lifted or not, chaturanga, or straight to down dog. Inhale, up dog if you're taking it. Exhale, down dog. Full breath in and full breath out. Same thing other side. Inhale, lift your left leg up. Sink your right heel even closer to the ground. Stretch that hamstring. Press evenly into both your right and left hands. Lift your left foot a little higher. Stretch through the hip flexor. One more breath in. And exhale, low lunge, starting to sweep that leg through. From here, inhale, pyramid or modified pyramid. So either straightening the left leg, keeping the right foot where it is, or again, stepping a little bit forward. You want to keep squaring your left hip back, right hip down. Again, great opportunity to use one or both blocks, one on each side. Keep like a halfway lift through your back. And again, soften the left knee if you need to. Press into the ball of your left foot. One more breath in. And exhale, starting to make your way back to that low lunge position. So if you stepped the back foot in, step it to its original spot. Inhale up to your crescent lunge. Pause and breathe here. Sink a little lower into your hips. Lift up taller through the crown of your head. Melt your shoulders away from your ears. One more breath in. And exhale, warrior 2. Pivot your heel down. Probably shimmy the feet a little wider apart. Sink into your lunge. Look down at your left knee. You should be able to see at least your big toe, if not your second toe as well. So there's a little bit of external rotation happening in your hip. Like you took your hand to your inner thigh and you kind of sweeped it that way. That's what we're going for. From here, inhale, keeping that alignment, straighten through your left leg. Exhale, triangle pose, Trikonasana. So again, not about how low we can get, how long and how strong you can get. Also your rib cage, these lowest sets of ribs, feel like they can hug into your belly. So we're not just like flaring our ribs open like this, that loses a lot of strength. Pull everything into center, keep your core active. Inhale, coming all the way up to star. And then exhale, wide-legged forward fold. I didn't say it on the other side because I was too busy lecturing you about other things, but take whatever movements feel good to you here, okay? So if you want to bend knee to knee, if that's a little twist, if it's a chest expansion, whatever you want to do, or you can just stay still and breathe. We'll take another couple breaths. On your next inhale, coming back to a halfway lift, like a long, strong back. And then exhale your way to a low lunge, pivot forward. From here, remember 2 options, either straight to high plank or float your left foot, holding, strengthening, breathing. One more inhale, exhale, chaturanga, or straight to your down dog. Inhale, up dog, and exhale, down dog. Take a big breath in, and a full breath out. And from here, inhale, lift your right leg high, moving breath to movement. Exhale, low lunge, sweep it through. Inhale, probably modified pyramid. It's a little bit easier not having to move that back leg around. Exhale, back to your low lunge. Inhale, crescent lunge, coming all the way up. Exhale, warrior 2. Pivot your heel down, space out your feet. Inhale, straighten through your right leg. Exhale, triangle pose, long and strong. Inhale, coming up to star. Exhale, wide-legged forward fold. Stretch out your hamstrings. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, low lunge, pivot forward. Inhale, high plank or unbalanced plank. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, down dog. Inhale, lift your left leg high. Exhale, low lunge. Use your core to bring it through. Inhale, pyramid or modified pyramid, just so long as we feel that hamstring stretch. Exhale, back to your low lunge. Inhale, coming up to your crescent lunge. Exhale, warrior two. Inhale, straighten through the left leg. Exhale, triangle pose. Inhale, coming all the way up to star. Exhale, wide-legged forward fold. Let yourself melt down. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, low lunge. Make your way back to the front. Inhale, step your foot back, either floating or not. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, up dog. And exhale, down dog. Breathe in. And breathe out. Adding on just a little bit this last time through. Inhale, lift your right leg high. This time, exhale, knee to nose. Curl around in. Think plank, but bring your knee in towards your face. Inhale, lift your right leg up. Exhale, low lunge. So adding a little strength there. Inhale, start to straighten through your right leg, pyramid or modified pyramid. Exhale, back to your low lunge. Inhale, coming up to your crescent lunge. Exhale, warrior two. Pivot your heel down. Inhale, straighten through your right leg. Exhale, triangle pose. Open up and stretch. Inhale, coming all the way up to star. This time we're gonna exhale, Skandasana. I'm gonna spin around so you can actually see what I'm doing. Spider-Man, Spider-Woman, gonna be through your left leg, so sinking into your back leg. Options, so if we're really tight in the hips, stay up nice and high. You might even rest your forearm on top of your thigh. Another option, use one or both blocks to rest your hands on. Otherwise, maybe coming down a little lower. Hands could be on the floor, hands could be on our block. Trying to keep your spine strong, your core active, not letting yourself turtle shell and round, okay? As far as our leg options go, left toes, actually it'd be your right toes, could be on the floor. Mine really cannot be, but they point up, but yours might be on the floor. I like to have my feet up anyway. Two options with your left foot. So your heel could be lifted, a little more balanced challenge. If you want more hip intensity, left heel is on the floor, okay? Makes it a little bit harder to stay upright, but it definitely gets into your hips, all right? You wanna make sure you unclench your jaw on that one. Either way, if we fall, we try to fall back on our butt, okay? Take another breath in. I'm gonna flip around where you guys are, and another breath out. Then slowly starting to migrate your way back to a low lunge. Inhale, step your right foot back, high plank or unbalanced, and exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, up dog, and exhale, down dog. Take a breath in, and a breath out. Inhale, lift your left leg high. Adding on, exhale, knee to nose, curl around in. Inhale, lift your left leg up, and exhale, low lunge. Inhale, modified pyramid or pyramid. Exhale, back to your lunge. Inhale, up to your crescent lunge. And exhale, warrior two. Inhale, straighten through your left leg. Exhale, Trikonasana, triangle pose. Inhale, coming up to star. Exhale, wide-legged fold. From here, you're gonna bend into your right leg this time, so sinking into your right side. Okay, maybe finding a little bit of challenge by lifting one hand or lifting both hands. Maybe sinking into your heel a little more. Woo, looking around too much. Wherever you are, stretch into your hamstrings and your hips. We're gonna take 3 more breaths in and out. One more inhale. And exhale slowly back to your low lunge. You could use your hands, or for more challenge, don't use your hands. Inhale, step back to your unlevel plank or plank. And exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, up dog. And exhale, down dog. Breathe in. And breathe out. One more inhale. And exhale, come on down, have a seat. All right, so we are going to do our little bit of core today, and we're gonna do it a little bit differently than normal core when we go onto our backs and do it belly up. We're actually gonna do our core potentially with our 2 blocks today, but we're working on kind of throwing core into the practice so that you can work on engaging those abdominal muscles to help you eventually do things like arm balances and inversions if you're so inclined. Otherwise, you're just getting stronger, which never hurts for just general life. When you're getting stuff out of the car, when you're picking up your kids, just not getting injuries or you're not having your low back hurt. Core strength helps with all that stuff. So we threw in those core knee to nose from the down dogs. We've thrown in those core jumping up to the top of the mat, going to mountain pose from down dog. And so now we're gonna practice pressing up, off of our mats, potentially using our blocks, maybe just using our hands, but starting in a comfortable seat, bring your knees in towards your chest. You're gonna have your blocks or your hands, whichever you're using, right by your side. And it's gonna be kind of in between, I'll turn this way so you can see, in between your booty and your feet. So for the longest time, I was doing it way back here with my hands back here, and it was just like, I was like, I'm never gonna get up, and I probably would not have ever gotten up this way because it just doesn't work. So you wanna have your hands like your wrists under your shoulders so that you can press up a little bit more, okay? And this is one of our short tutorial videos for this month, lots of press up options. So if you wanna go check out different ones you can do, we're gonna try those out. So either using your hands or your blocks right by the space between your feet and your hips. You're gonna press like you would in plank, activate through the shoulders, lift your booty up for 4, 3, breathing 2, and 1, come down. Switch the cross of your legs, hug the knees in, press into your mat, lift up for 4, 3, 2, and 1, come on down, quick roll of the wrists. We're gonna switch the cross of our legs again. This time I want you to try to lift 1 foot. I don't really care which foot, just whichever foot feels natural. Lifting up, weight out of your wrists, lift a foot for 4, 3, 2, and 1, come on down, switch the cross of your legs. Also be sure you're not just relying on your shoulders and your blocks to lift yourself up. You should by now be feeling a little bit of burn in your low abdominals, that space between the, or right above your hip points. So pressing into the blocks, lift up, other leg lifts this time for 4, 3, 2, come down. Woo, quick roll of the wrists. Okay, last one. Option to try to lift both legs or repeat where you're comfortable, lifting up, 4, 3, 2, and 1, come down, switch, lift up, both feet, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Woo, all right, shake it out for a second. Awesome job. If you want a little bit more core, check out that short tutorial video. It's got 3 other options like that in there for you, and they're all a little bit more challenging than that. So if you want to check those out, you can. In this next little standing sequence we're going to do, you're going to have the option to incorporate some of the hamstring stuff we've been working on when it comes to splits. Also, some of the hamstring and strength stuff when it comes to handstand or handstand hops. So that's another thing we work on in the tutorial videos this month. So we'll cross those bridges when we come to them, but have your blanket nearby if you have sensitive knees, and I would suggest putting a block on each side of your mat so that they're handy if you need them. So let's go ahead and make our way back to down dog, grab a sip of water, take a little pause break if you need to, and then we'll get going again. So coming back to your down dog, catch up with your breath. Take a big breath in and a full breath out. Inhale, lift your right leg high. Exhale, low lunge, start to bring it forward. Now from here, 3 different options I'll give you. Option number 1, hang out in pyramid pose, okay? So keep working on stretching this hamstring here, especially if you have knee issues on your left knee. Maybe we just stay right here, work on our pyramid. Those who want to come down to your left knee, you might want a blanket underneath it. You can work on a half split, okay? So starting to straighten through the right leg, keeping the left knee down, back stays long and strong, working towards more hamstring stretch. Those of us who want to try for full splits today, again, you might want that blanket under your left knee. You're going to start to extend. Left leg back, right leg forward. Blocks come in really handy here. So the taller you make your blocks, 1 on each side, you can start to work the left leg back, right leg forward. You might also take one of your blocks, depending on how close to the floor you are, and set it under your front hamstring, okay? So that way you have the freedom of your arms, okay? So wherever you are, taking it a little bit at a time. Those of us who want to stay maybe a little higher, work on squaring the hips. So bringing the left hip forward and the right hip back. So thinking like your crescent lunge stance. We're just going to take a few more breaths here. Notice if you're clenching your jaw. 1 more inhale. And then exhale, starting to slowly come up out of that pose. All right, so bending your right knee once again. From here, we're going to come into a vertical split. So lifting the left leg up behind you. Again, great place for your blocks if you want them. Couple of options here. Bringing the forehead closer to the shin as you lift your left leg higher. So just like the splits you did on the ground, except now you're vertical, right? You're on a different plane. Or hands on the ground, just like you did in those down dog hops, just like you did in those press-ups. You're gonna use these low belly muscles, bend your right leg, weight is in your hands, little kick up, okay? So it doesn't have to be much, all right? We don't have to go all the way up, just using whoop, little kick up, getting that belly strength, all right? Or we're just holding and bringing the legs more into splits, wherever you are, for 4, 3, 2, and slowly back to your low lunge. Okay, catch up with your breath, especially if you did those handstand hops. Inhale up to your crescent lunge. And exhale, warrior 2. Pivot your heel down. From here, inhale, straighten through your right leg. Exhale, Trikonasana, triangle pose. Inhale, coming up to star. And exhale, wide-legged forward fold, starting to make your way down. Now, on this one, you have the option, I'm going to move this for a second, to do transversal splits. So you can stay in your wide-legged fold, that's great, or starting to scoot your feet a little further apart, maybe coming to your forearms or your blocks. So stretching into those hips and hamstrings. Pinky toe sides of your feet. A lot of times we have a tendency to roll them up. Press them down into the mat so that you don't compromise your ankles. And keep breathing into it. So again, not letting yourself feel trapped or stuck. Don't panic. 2 more deep breaths. And then slowly, if you took transversal splits, starting to bring your feet back closer together, find a halfway lift, pivot forward to a low lunge, step back to high plank, and chaturanga or straight to down dog. Or you can repeat that unbalanced plank we did earlier. Take a breath in and a breath out. Inhale, lift your left leg high. Whoops. Left leg high. Exhale, low lunge, take it through. From here, again, option to stay in your pyramid pose, okay, especially if we have knee issues, all right, not a big deal. Come down to your right knee for a half split. So for half splits, it's a lot like that seated forward fold we started practice with. The goal is not to just like collapse so that your face comes to your leg, okay? Like that might feel like an accomplishment, but we're not really doing a lot of what the intention is. So the intention is to stretch the back of your hamstring. So to make that happen, long, strong spine, blocks might be helpful, folding from your hip rather than your heart, okay? Or we're coming in to the full splits. So separating our legs a little bit further. And my strategy is one leg at a time. So left leg back a little bit, right leg forward a little bit, left leg back a little bit, right leg forward a little bit. Using those blocks as you need to. And again, even if there's not a huge physical change that's happening, you're letting that internal shift happen. So even if you're like, man, this sucks and I hate it so much, can you just hate it a little bit less as you breathe, okay? Just hating it a little bit less is a victory, all right? 2 more deep breaths. Good, and then after that second exhale, slowly coming out of wherever you are, starting to step your feet back into that low lunge type position. From here, stepping up to a vertical split. So you're already primed. You already did the hard one, in my opinion, which is splits on the floor, okay? So now you have a little less pressure on your knee, which is great. You can either, again, practice forehead towards the shin, driving the back leg up. You can use your blocks or hands on the ground. This might be your weak leg, so don't, judge yourself too hard. Bend the knee and just little hop, okay? So little float. Okay, just a few of those. If you already are comfortable with handstand, or you want to go take your mat to a wall and practice, or you want to do some L stands on the wall, go for it. Or just stay in your standing splits for 3, 2, and 1. Land your right leg softly back in that low lunge position. Inhale your way up to your crescent lunge, and exhale, warrior 2. Inhale, start to straighten through your left leg. Exhale, triangle pose. Inhale, coming all the way up to star. And exhale, wide-legged fold. So you can stay in your wide-legged fold. You can repeat Spider-Man Skandasana if you want to, or coming in to your transversal splits. And since this is the second time you've done it, hopefully, maybe we find a little bit more space or just a little bit more softness in our space. Keep pressing those pinky toe sides down. Two more deep breaths. And then after your second exhale, starting to bring your feet back closer together. Coming back close enough so you can find a halfway lift. And exhaling to a low lunge. Step back for your high plank. And last chaturanga if you want it, or straight to down dog. Take a big breath in. And a full breath out. Inhale, lift your right leg high. And exhale, half pigeon. Start to sweep it forward somewhere between 45 and 90 degrees. So your right knee is towards your right wrist and your ankle is towards the left side of your mat. You can stay up high, you can come down to your block or your blanket, or just let your forehead relax. Wherever you are, you want to feel the stretch in your right hip. So not in your knee, not in your low back. Soften the space between your top and bottom jaw. And your next inhale, slowly making your way back up. If you want to pause the video and stay longer, you certainly can. And exhale your way back to down dog. Feel free to open up that hip or take whatever movements you need to along the way. From here, inhale, lift your left leg high. And exhale, half pigeon. Start to sweep it forward. Extend your right leg back. Lengthen through your spine. And then begin to fold your way down. Notice where your mind goes when your body starts to get quiet. Can you use that strength, that power that you have to come back to the present? And your next inhale, start to make your way back up to your palms. As you exhale, make your way back to our last down dog of our practice. Take a big full deep breath in and a deep breath out. Notice all that space you create in your lower half. One more inhale. Big sigh, exhale. And come on down to your knees. All right, from here, we're just gonna cool down with a little Baddha Konasana forward fold, so soles of your feet together, knees open wide. If you wanna give your hips a little break, just remember slide your feet a little further forward. Otherwise, bringing your feet a little closer in for more hips. Sit up tall through the crown of your head, breathe in. And exhale, start to fold. Letting yourself move one breath at a time. If that external rotation is feeling really good in your hips after those splits that we did, you might apply just a very gentle amount of pressure, sending your shins and your knees a little bit closer towards the floor, but be cautious not to put pressure directly on the knees, especially if you have knee issues. Slowly starting to come back up to center. From here, you can extend your legs out long in front of you. We did do a lot of hamstrings already today, so I would suggest maybe softening your knees by bending them or sliding your block underneath your knees for more support, just to give yourself a little break. Take a breath in and exhale, Paschimottanasana, seated forward fold. Letting your head and neck relax. Really let go of the space in your low spine. Anything you might feel kind of hanging on there, any tension or tightness there in your hips. Just letting it melt away as you deepen into your pose. Next inhale, slowly coming back up to center. If you have a block underneath you, go ahead and move it out of the way. If you want one last little bit of core, arms stay long, slowly lower your way down, or if you want to be like me and just call it a day, lay down on your back, that's great too. So from here, we're going to come into happy baby. If you're like me and you have a bun or something behind you, you might want to take it out. For happy baby, knees go out wide towards the sides of your rib cage. You can stay still, rock back and forth. If you want to, maybe straighten one leg or maybe both legs. Since we did so much hips and hamstrings today, hopefully this feels a lot freer than normal. So even if you're not the type to typically straighten your legs, you might try it out today. Once you've been the happiest yogi you can be, Hug both knees into your chest, give them a nice squeeze. Keep your right knee hugged in, send your left leg all the way out long. Inhale, pull your right knee in and up. And exhale, supine twist, take it across your body. Let yourself unwind. You might apply a little bit of pressure with your with your left arm to your right leg, but not forcing, especially not putting any pressure on the low back. Inhale, begin to make your way back to center, both knees into your chest. Gentle rock and roll side to side if you want it. When you're ready to switch, right leg goes long. Inhale, pull your left knee in and up in the direction of your armpit. And exhale, supine twist. Take it across. Check in one more time with where your thoughts are, where your mind is taking you. Invite yourself to come back to right here, right now, just for a few more minutes today. Your next breath in, come back to center, both knees into your chest. Give yourself a great big hug of gratitude. Squeeze yourself tight. As you exhale, start to make your way to Shavasana. If you need to grab any props, it's a little cold here today, so I'm going to cover myself up with a blanket. But if you need to grab a sip of water, use anything you need to use. Settle in, make yourself comfortable. We spend too much of our time being uncomfortable for no reason, so just let yourself be comfortable for 5 minutes. Less than that. Imagine your brain getting soft, floating to the back of your skull, resting there, along with any thoughts that come into it. For the next couple of minutes, your job is just to be. Feel free to stay right here resting a little while longer if you'd like. When you are ready to reawaken your body, start off small and gentle. Wiggle your fingers and toes. Rock your chin from shoulder to shoulder. Gradually taking bigger movements in larger joints. Seal your practice with whatever you need, whether that's a long body stretch, knees to your chest, or something else. At your own pace, gradually rock on to your favorite side. And take this opportunity to thank yourself for your practice, to acknowledge your strength and power both inside and out. And take as much time as you need before making your way up to a comfortable seat. Eyes closed, hands at heart center. Thank you so much for making time out of your day to connect to your breath, your body, your spirit, for giving me the opportunity to be there with your practice. The highest and brightest in me honors and bows to the highest and brightest in you. So bring our hands to third eye center and bow forward to one another. Namaste. Thanks so much for taking time out of your day for yoga. As I mentioned during practice, the short tutorial videos, the 3 that we posted this month, all kind of correlate with what we focused on during our practice today. So there's lots of strengthening opportunities to help you build core strength. Again, like I mentioned, could just be for everyday life, or for those of us who are interested in maybe doing arm balances and inversions, building shoulder and core strength for those. So if you haven't checked out those videos, go check them out. Maybe do this flow again and see if it makes a difference for you. So if you have requests for the future, leave me a message or a comment, and I hope to practice with you again soon. Namaste.